Welcome, superfans, to another episode of the BANGover podcast. On this episode, we're talking about some thrash metal. Nailbomb. Oh, yeah, we're doing something a little bit different. We brought our instruments today.
It's a different format. We're always trying new things.
We're trying to find the right thing.
Yeah.
The sweet spot, if you will,
Yes.
how they say in the musician world. I've thought about this ever since episode 85 at least, where I was like, why are we not just in some ways playing on that? I know the technicalities, and believe me, folks, Chris knows them too. Spent all day, about a 2.5 hour setup just.
Yeah, this has been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
To get it right. So hopefully it sounds right and looks right, and we'll, of course,
And we don't have to scrap this video.
This will just be an ever-growing thing until we get it good.
Proper.
So, you're watching the beta. This is the beta version.
Yeah. And, we're just going to play a little bit of the riffs since, we're not really allowed to play the songs anymore.
No.
Back in the day, where we were like a pirate radio station, this was something I always wanted to have on there, because I love these songs. We're talking about Nailbomb,
Yeah.
just Nailbomb, but the live album.
The live album, because it's celebrating its anniversary, and it is proud to commit commercial suicide, released on October 24th, 1995, making it the 25th anniversary.
Woo.
And the date
Feels older.
This is our first live album. Also, this is usually we do just normal
I was gonna say that
studio
too,
albums,
yeah.
but this is the first live album. So whenever we talk about it was recorded from January to August or whatever, you're like, holy shit, they spent 3 months.
It was recorded
This
on
was
tour.
recorded on one day, June 3rd. It says July 1995, but I mean, how is it June 3rd and July at the same time? I don't know. So there's some misinformation here on the wikis, but
Well, because it's a one-off thing that happened just as a collaboration.
Maybe they did some post fixing ups. Yeah. Okay, I see. Tracks 12 and 13 are recorded songs, and so those, I guess, were done in July. Whereas June 3rd was the actual show that we're kind of talking about here.
I love that the live album has 2 extra tracks that you're not going to get with the original.
Yeah.
It makes every sense to get it, or buy it.
Yeah. It's about 53-ish minutes, 52:41. Roadrunner's the label, and you got producers Alex Newport and Max Cavalera, sorry.
Okay.
Cavalera.
Let's pause there. If you didn't know, obviously, Max Cavalera. Sepultura.
I always say it too. Not like Cal. The L is after the V. Cavalera.
Yeah. All right. I've been drinking.
I know. I mean,
so I slur a lot when I drink.
can't show it, but
I'm drunk. No, this is a podcast that we're doing. It's later on in the night, so I can drink. I have a rule. As soon as the sun goes down, drink as much as I want. Well, I can start drinking, not as much as I want. But when the sun's up, I'm like, no beer for me. So normally it's during the daytime. I don't get to drink. So maybe you guys see a funner side of me, personality-wise, my alcoholic side.
it's about the same.
Okay, so thanks for correcting me on the name. Leave a comment if we keep fucking shit up. So we have Max, Sepultura, Soulfly, and then so on and so forth with projects nowadays. We have Cavalier Conspiracy. We have Killer Be Killed, right? Did I say that one right?
Which we just kind of talked about.
And we have Nailbomb, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Killer, we talked about that, where the Reactionary on their
single.
newest single.
Mm-hmm. And they also have a newer single, which we've listened to, but we haven't talked about. But anyone that's out there that likes Nailbomb and Max probably will like that. So
if you
there's
like
new music.
rock and roll, it's just heavy rock. I enjoy it. And then on the other side of the coin, we have Alex Newport. And this may be where you didn't know. But Alex Newport is from a band called Fudge Tunnel.
Yep. He's also a producer. And he's done At the Drive-In, the Mars Volta.
Casino, right? In Casino? He did?
I'm not sure. I don't see
I
that.
did the research a long time ago. I'm going to go ahead and go with my gut.
He's done mixing for Foo Fighters stuff. He's done, let's see, Death Cab for Cutie stuff.
He won a fucking award for that one, actually.
Yeah, Grammy nominated for Death Cab for Cutie. So, I mean, he besides his like heavy roots,
Right.
he's got like we've kind of talked about Mars Volta as well. Or I mean, at the drive-in, and that kind of encompassed Mars Volta.
And I definitely brought this up then, but I never had a chance to talk about Alex Newport any further than just that snid bit. You know what I mean? In that episode of like a year and a half ago, it feels like. But I fucking was fascinated with this guy. I love Fudge Tunnel. If you've never heard Fudge Tunnel, it's a rock band, a noise rock band, however you want to put it. Noise punk, noise rock. They called them grunge when they came over, but they're from Sweden, and they had no idea what grunge was.
Yeah.
But it's like early 90s, just it sounds like Nirvana,
It's
but
very
heavier.
It's very just like
It's like the Melvins and Nirvana were one,
yeah,
you know?
It's very like
three-piece,
it's not
just
doomy,
hammer.
but it's kind of like just
It's
sludgy. It's
and
very
it's
like
loud.
Yeah.
Like because his vocal style is just like how it is on this album.
Yeah.
You know, just that's his projection.
Yeah.
So the story was that they are a sludgy type band with weird, obscure sound. And to find an engineer that would, you know, that knows how to mix and master that and capture that sound, to find one was almost impossible, to the point where like one day got in an argument with the producer or the engineer. They left. So, you know, Alex goes in there behind the board and he's like, all right, you know, someone play their guitar and someone play drums. And he just started, that's how he started, just going through it like that. And then figuring out what it, like learning the process of mixing and mastering so he could actually get his like band's idea across, you know, what they should sound like on an album. He had to learn to do that. And in the process of doing that, you said the Death Cab for Cutie, they were done with the entire album, Death Cab for Cutie, but they couldn't get one song, just couldn't get it right in the mix for whatever reason. Multiple engineers, multiple people have tried.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of those people from Death Cab for Cutie, spoilers, they're from like hardcore bands back in the day, just like all those bands, really.
Yeah, it's kind of just like that whole like
knowing
emo kind of
exactly
transferred
knowing
like
Alex from back in the day gigs because they kind of lumped some together because they would, you know, Fudge Tunnel would be considered like a punk band as well, you know.
Yeah.
By the way they move on stage, by the way they sound, it's destructive, you know. It's like bands like Whores are like definitely copying that sound. And like a local band here, like Shitbag is kind of that same way, but just a little bit. Yeah, what a great name, Shitbag.
It's kind of like this somber. It's not like it's very. Some would even say maybe depressing sounding. It's just kind of like
it's like Nirvana. If I had to tell someone in layman's terms, I was like heavier Nirvana. Like what Nirvana wanted to sound like because they didn't have.
It's just a more darker Nirvana.
Yeah, you
Nirvana
take away all that
get,
popularity, you take away Heart Shaped Box, all that, you know.
Yeah, so just to kind of also for podcast listeners, and viewers, if anything is cut out of this episode, it's because of copyright. So yes, we are playing the songs as like
in this
reference whenever we come up and just like bits and pieces. But if you're watching the video and there are jump cuts and stuff, it's because we got, you know, flagged for things and we're just kind of trying to make it an original piece of material. So
right. Yeah.
So I mean, if sorry for
we
any,
don't
we're just
know.
apologizing ahead of time if any
we
of that
don't
happens.
know.
Yeah, we don't know. So this is a test run, but
Ew.
so yeah, some other people on the album. It's kind of we'll get to like
because we're talking about the live, but how can we not talk about the actual album that brought forth the live? And tell me this, Chris, did they go on tour?
By the way.
Yes. Everyone, I think, has seen that T-shirt at least, if not.
Well, it's just the cover
right?
is very like iconic. It's very like it's got a gun to someone's head.
It's very hardcore.
Yeah, very hardcore. And yeah, that was
like
their
military lettering, you know.
Their first album or only real studio album, and that's in March 8th of '94, so a year before this. So I don't think they did any touring. I think they literally only played this one show and they recorded it, and that was it. They did one performance
at a festival in Europe.
Dynamo.
Yeah.
And yeah, so to that, they do. Let's see here. Let me pull up some information. There really isn't much like besides just the production notes because you kind of get what you get when it comes to like, I mean, live albums, they're really like, you know, besides the people that were there that day that did it, unless it's some Kiss stuff where they go back into the studio and redo stuff,
Right.
and like re-add and touch things up. I mean, live like this, you're gonna the album from a sound perspective. When we talked about this, the video version, it's very rough. The whole thing is really rough.
Horrible.
But I'm surprised at how
said.
good it sounds, because if you watch the video, they're having some issues. Alex is running all over the stage. He's pointing at monitors. The bass player has the sound tech on stage for like the first 2 songs fucking with stuff. I don't know what is happening, but there's a lot of stuff going wrong.
The usual problems, I'm sure.
So there's a lot of stuff going, and for like a live album, I'm cutting it more slack, because it was this like they probably they didn't tour for this stuff, so it's like they probably rehearsed a couple days, played it, and I mean
it had the one chance to get on stage and do it. You know what I mean? And of course, like you didn't have multiple trials, you know, to run through.
I mean, they probably did rehearse, but I'm just saying
hiccups,
it's like you didn't.
But
in
the
front of a
production
live
side,
exactly.
Yeah.
And this is also like we were saying, a big festival. You know, things can happen when
there's a lot of bands that
coming
before.
in and out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I feel bad for whatever happened, because I'm trying to like listen to it and be like, oh, there's no bass on the first 2 songs, but I think there is. I'm pretty sure there is. I know for sure some of these songs like require that, dun, dun, you know, it's like real driving fuzzy bass. So I'm just trying to like, I was watching it on my computer, so I couldn't really like hear those first 2 songs when it comes to bass and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're really fast. We're talking about the first 2 is Wasting Away and Gorillas. Those 2 songs are
Gorillas is number 4. It's like Viva. It's in Spanish.
No, that's number 4. Number 2 is Gorillas.
Oh, you're looking at it?
Yeah.
What?
Wasting Away, Gorillas.
We're talking about the live
Cockroaches.
album. I'm talking about the original.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Yeah. So they go right into live. So yeah, they do Wasting Away and then Gorillas, and I can't tell. Those songs are fast, so I don't know what's going on bass-wise, I guess is what I'm saying.
I watched videos of people covering Wasted Away. When you type in, like, you know, Nailbomb drum covers or any cover, it's always Wasting Away. And so I heard some bands do it, right? And then I was like, oh, well, there's the live video. I'll click on that. And like you were saying, it was like incoherent.
I'd have to go back and listen to the live album like on nice headphones to be able to hear what is there and not there.
Yeah.
And like, but I will say, in just watching it and like listening to it on like computer speakers and stuff, the way that they incorporate that keyboard player, who is Reese Fulber, who is a member of Frontline Assembly and Delirium. I've never heard. I think I've heard of Frontline Assembly, but he's an electronic musician, producer, and he's really adding a lot of those like those dun, dun,
Frontline
dun,
Assembly is like a '90s industrial band.
Yeah, and you can tell he's like with the drops that he's using, the screams. It's the Nailbomb is very industrial.
It's industrial thrash.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about it. I love industrial. I love thrash, and this is where it comes together.
I mean, that first riff we played, the intro, you know, one of the riffs in Wasting Away, that's a very fast.
It's super fast, and then
and the sound effects are doing those weird like whoa, 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 like there's like weird like screeching happening with the sound effects. You know what I mean? Like the sampler. So he's doing like weird stuff, but also adding to the whole thing. So it makes it an industrial band because you have these weird sound effects, but it's also the riffs are just like blazingly fast.
Yeah, insanely fast.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like when we talk about Palehead or something like that, you know, or even the SOD, because these are like these one-off albums that you only get like one, maybe two of like the best thing in thrash metal.
Yeah.
And thrash metal has a lot of these. Well, 3 that I can think of, or like 4 in particular I can think of, you know, when it comes to these, because I want to say like Lard, but that's kind of like a band.
That's
you know what
so
I mean?
funny you say that.
Because Lard is halfway in this fucking. Well, we know the drummer for Dead Kennedy shows up,
but
whatever reason.
Max's guitar has Lard on the top. It says Lard.
So they were listening. Oh, I knew someone knows about this band. Like knew about
Lard
the band.
on the top of his guitar. I was like, what the hell? So yeah, there's a lot of like just crossover, like we've kind of talked about. In all
The
these
industrial,
bands, so. But the
the
industrial,
metal,
so, yeah.
all the scenes are kind of like I always say,
So-
like they just go in between each other. They're very
Yeah.
incestual.
They do 2 covers.
I don't know if I use that word right.
You brought up the Dead Kennedys. They do Police Truck and then a Doom cover, Exploitation. And for that Police Truck, they actually have D.H. Peligro come out and do that song. And he also does World of Shit.
Yeah, that guy is blistering fast on
that guy's
drums.
really,
when he came
really
out, I was like, oh, like the coach is pulling out Igor, you know? Like, all right, take a break, kid. And then this guy comes out and just fucking starts hailing him. Lick.
On 4 and 6, which is Vai Tomo no Kyu and then Religious Cancer, those are Barry Schneider on drums. So Max doesn't actually play all of... Or not Max, Igor doesn't actually play all of the songs. The drums get thrown around, and same with the bass. Scott Doom comes in for that Doom cover. Yeah, and then you have Dave Edwardson pretty much doing the rest of the bass. And let's see. Oh, yeah, and then how can I forget? Evan Seinfeld, who is the bass player for Biohazard, also makes an appearance. Oh shit! On the last song, what is it?
Because
Sick Life. Yeah,
maybe
sorry
because
for that.
Biohazard was just at the festival. If I had to guess,
Yeah, probably.
these people are already.
That's
at
what
the
I'm saying.
festival.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we were like, did they just tour with like 4 drummers?
Yeah. And then Richie Bujanowski, additional guitars. When I was watching the video, either they had somebody backstage doing it or they're counting that little kid. Because there is a little kid that comes on stage and plays guitars.
That's Alex's son, bro.
So is that him? Richie Bujanowski?
That's the kid that came up?
I don't know. He's just that name is just listed for additional guitars.
I was pretty sure that was Alex Newport's kid that came up and played it. Because at this time he's like married and he's like transitioning towards more of the production side of like engineering bands, and Fudge Tunnel's like slowly winding down.
Yeah. And then that's about it for like people that show up. Went over everybody. You do have the production notes, or the producer, like we stated, Max and Alex, and then the engineer / recording by is Stephen Remote. And then Alex also did the mixing with Rusty D'Angelo.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So and that's
what label is this under? Is it under a label?
I mean Roadrunner. That's what it's said, but I mean,
duh.
Yeah. So again, that's about all the information because you can literally go and watch them record it, and the people there.
Yeah.
You can watch the live video, which
it's on YouTube.
It is. The whole thing is on YouTube.
I love like the DVD for some whatever reason. It just sounds better.
Yes.
Because whoever uploaded it to YouTube didn't give 2 fucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's still a pretty high quality version. There's There's like 2.
I think I might have found a bad one.
Yeah, there's a couple on there actually, but you can find it on YouTube and watch it. It's only like 45 minutes. This one, the album's longer because of the 2 additional songs, but I think the video itself, when I was watching it, was like 45 minutes. So it's a quick watch.
Yeah. I started Wasted Away, and it was like the beginning of the DVD where they're like all getting on stage, picking up their instrument, and you could see like Alex Newport just like strumming.
Yeah.
And it's just not like nothing's happening. He's like,
so that I think that's like, he's having issues.
Yeah,
there, yeah,
and I think the issues. I think the show was delayed a little bit. This is just my thoughts, that it was delayed a bit, and they were forced to go out because they couldn't figure out all the problems they were having until they just started blasting through it. Right. That's my thought, because you could see Max just show up, and everyone's kind of having weird technical problems, but Max and Igor are like, aged in this, done this, and they're like, fuck that, go.
Nobody's having,
go.
Max has no issues, and Igor has no issues.
Well, I think they have to go on the punk rock, like, play as is type of mentality. This happened to us at many gigs, you know what I mean? Where it's like,
but it's still
shit's
like,
not working right, we have to go on no matter what.
But if your
There's a
equipment
schedule.
isn't working, you can't. I mean, that bass player was
play
still
as is, Doug.
I mean, the bass player was playing on stage, but
yeah, but
nothing's
it was
coming out.
I don't think Alex's guitar was working on Wasted Away, and
yeah,
Igor just decides to like fucking annihilate through that song, like at least 20 BPMs faster than the original.
Speaking of
Like,
wasting away,
whoa.
let's do that right after the part we played. Yeah, the fast part. Wasting away here.
Yeah, let's see if I can do it. It's kind of like weird because it's very industrial. I know there's a synthesizer, so I don't know what cymbal, you know what I mean? Or how much double bass.
That part,
I thought we might do 4.
the other.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
We
that
did
was.
2.
I think that was 4. That was 4. At least for me,
I
that
count
was
chunks.
4. Yeah,
Fuck. But
no,
yeah,
it's good. But so
I want to get to that next part, the breakdown.
Oh yeah. We'll do that part too. But because I think this song is a great example of like just
You can do
the riffs,
whatever
yeah.
you want, dude. As long as that riff and the vocals are kind of there, the drums can go double time fast. They can start cutting down the beat.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
This
You
is
can
probably
do
the
single foot, double foot, this cymbal, that cymbal. It's whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's punk rock.
This song is blisteringly fast, and it's a song that they kind of open the set with. So it's like it's insane that this is what Igor's warming up with. You know what I mean? And it's that
I know it's
that
like
riff
32-second notes that he's playing on the bass drums. It's like he's blistering towards the end where it's like ramping up. It's like
that.
No.
I mean,
Whoa. No.
the speedy part, which you can play that. Like, do it real quick.
I have headphone problems.
Then yeah, exactly. You were about to go into the next part, which is the fast part, and that part still keeping that really fast tempo.
Yeah.
But then we'll do the breakdown here. We'll do 4 of it.
Oh, yeah. Love this
So we'll just do the breakdown part, but.
Right.
So that part, super slow, but like you're going from and then the bass comes in, but you're going from these like really fast tempos, and then that's really like a hardcore thing where
groovy breakdown.
And really, those are the same notes that he's playing as the.
Who would have known?
So
it's
like,
really that easy to write a catchy song.
Yeah,
it's one riff, and then you make it to make 2 more, 3 more riffs.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. This song is a great example of like their songwriting, because there's other songs where they literally just it's just like 2 parts, and then they do have a third part, but they literally only play it like a split second, and it's at the beginning, and they never do it again. And it's like, but besides those little examples, they're just playing like simple riffs that are really like catchy and fast. And that drums can just lay on top of, like, because really when it comes to like a fast thrash song like we're talking about, I mean, all it needs is just like speed and intensity.
Yeah, the skank beat is always called
Exactly,
upon,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Or the D beat, whatever you want to call it.
And especially like
There's like 10 terms.
this band, they're playing to this giant audience at a festival. That's like what they want to hear. Like an audience there, they don't care if you're like technically proficient. They just want to like bang their head, get drunk, and mosh.
And move.
Exactly.
Because, they're in a giant crowd. You
Because
can't
there's
hear every piece no
thousands
matter
of
what.
other people's doing the same thing. So they want to, it's more of like a feeling you're moving around. And so this band,
that's why Slipknot kills it, you know what I mean? Because they know how to do those build-ups.
they're
And
pretty technical sometimes.
They got that shit
But
from
they do-
Sepultura.
yeah.
I
They do,
feel like
yes,
their
yeah.
entire style is taken from Sepultura.
They take those breakdowns and bridges and stuff.
All of it. The drums even feel that way. That being said, they are very original. That's what it's. You take bits and pieces that influence you to make something new.
But we've
not
talked about this a
stealing,
lot, and even our own personal
per
word. It
se.
just doesn't need to be crazy.
Doesn't need to be super technical.
No.
Like no one wants
Some
a
of
riff
these-
salad.
No, yeah. Some of these songs have like the chorus or the verse is like just drums and bass, and like Max like has his guitar, like he's just holding the mic stand and singing, and Alex is like just standing there too.
Because I love World of Shit, you know? But World of Shit is literally like, here, I'll play the drum beat. And this is it the entire time.
Yeah.
I fucked it up.
No.
But it's like, I got to get that rhythm back in my head. So. And it's like, it's hard because it's like very direct. What it is that in the Point Blank album, they're not real drums. Even if Max or Igor is credited, what it is a sampled. It's all sampled. You wouldn't play that drum beat like that repetitive. So when you hear this live album, these drummers almost have a little bit of no frame of reference, other than like what it was in the studio. What it was in the studio was just your basic backbeat.
Yeah.
You're doing this, or you're doing... And that's pretty much all of this. You know, you get the cool breakdowns up. And it's just, you know, on that same where it's industrial music, so it has to be repetitious. It has to be, you know, it is the same thing. Techno songs are the same thing, you know, like that's what it is. It's just a long bunch of things. Like all those large songs were like, what was it, like 24 like counts or measurements of like a verse, and then, you know,
very long pieces, and then just like
so many
a
lyrics.
bridge that would be like or some like weird,
because
like
we talk about
glue piece.
Talk about cockroaches, like it is the same thing over and over again, and it's 7 minutes long. It's almost too much, but the original recording, it is just like put in the background kind of thing. You know what I mean?
That's very like stoner, like just sludgy. That's a Fudge Tunnel riff. You know what I mean?
It is.
That's a Fudge Tunnel
That's
riff.
a good point to make.
Sorry.
Go check out Fudge Tunnel. It's really hard to find them on Spotify right
now.
now.
They're not there. They're not on Apple Music or anything.
They have an album I've never heard before on Spotify.
Oh, really?
Now, I don't know. I listened to it. It sounds like Alex Newport. It sounds like them, so it's not another band.
Is it like a split or something, maybe?
It's weird. It's labeled like it came out like 2019, I believe, or 2018, but it's yellow. But everything else is gone. Like Songs of Hate in E minor. Yes, that was on there.
That was a great album.
You know,
there's some great albums. Ryan has all of them, and I was gonna tell you I want to borrow his CD case, Ryan CD case, and rip all those albums because I've been.
He has the live Nailbomb, and he has the original Nailbomb, and he has the DVD of Nailbomb as well.
I have that. I can stream all that.
It doesn't sound the same.
I'm just. I want those Fudge Tunnels, but also, what was it? Fuck, I lost my track. Oh, they have on Bandcamp, oddly enough, Fudge Tunnel has a Bandcamp account, and they have one album on there that's a live album that sounds like garbage.
Well, I assumed, okay, what? I assumed that when this happens, that they're recollecting the property and then going to re-release it.
Well,
because
also they're from another country, so maybe it's some weird shit like that.
But say those albums, like nowadays, are about 20 years old, and maybe those contracts are up with the labels for where you get back your music. You know, you get this amount of money, we hold on to this album for 10 years and do whatever we want with it, quote unquote, and then in 10 years you get it back. Because, you know, contracts don't even last that long when it comes to you signed to the label, but the album contract could be 20 years if you're not careful, or forever in some case, because they could reappeal to keep it going forever. It's like a fucking a patent law. It's a bunch of bullshit that they just made up.
Your shit could just get sold off. It's like a loan or something. Like
there's so many stories in rock and roll.
Your records just
get
sold off to another company.
So I assume that's what's happening with Fudge Tunnel. I assume.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's some sort of rights issue, but also maybe like a international rights issue because they are another country band. And so like
let's talk about another one of his bands, which is one of my favorite, is Theory of Ruin.
Oh yes. That's another
a deep
one
cut. It's giving me goosebumps when I bring it up.
I don't think you can find it either.
I looked it up. It was like a $40 album because it's out of print. It's a CD, not even a record.
I have the CD.
Dude, it's like $40,
really?
$50. Yeah. When I looked it up on multiple platforms,
That's awesome. I'm
yeah,
never
I was
gonna
like,
sell it. But
son of a bitch, and it's only like 6 or 7 songs.
they only have 6. It's like super short,
but
and it's one.
Spotify has their first demo, their EP, but nothing else.
Weird.
I assume that he's recollecting the property and then
That's
going
so
to put it
weird.
out under maybe his own name, his
Pissing
label,
Razors kind of did the same
whatever,
thing, like
you know?
where it was really hard to find their stuff, right?
Right.
But now everything's available.
Redone,
They
yeah.
re-uploaded everything, and that's probably the same like a rights thing. Maybe they just got it all back. Maybe they just, maybe some bands are just late to adopt, and it's like, maybe he does own everything, and he just hasn't put it on.
And maybe the coronavirus is slowing it all down for him to get his re-release down, Yeah. Because it just happened recently, because I had those songs saved on a lot of fucking playlists. And now it's like, I'm going to have to, grab all those Fudge Tunnel CDs and put them on a computer. Huh.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have a CD player in my car. I know it's not a thing nowadays for everyone,
Yeah.
But if you drive a early 2000s model, like most musicians, I guess, do, you might have a CD player. I was going to say something else. So this is so funny because I think what really is going on here is that, like, I totally forget the story of how Max and Alex met, but I know Max has been trying for, like, since the early 90s to do some kind of, like, industrial thing. You notice, like, some of the re-releases of Chaos AD where they did the remix of Chaos AD that is, like, very, like, club mix, if you will. You know what I mean? That's, like, a shit way to say it because it sounds so douchey, but it's, like, a very industrial mix of Chaos AD. You remember hearing it on the very end of, like, some of the albums of Chaos AD,
Like the
it just,
bonus
like,
stuff?
Yeah, it's, like, it's a bunch of, like, what they do, it's not even like they take, like, sampler sounds. They take a bunch of, like, drums, like, all different styles of drums. And you know how, like, they always do their reggae thing, Sepultura?
Yeah.
So take those reggae drums and pretty much that bass, and then you can make, like, that's technically that's how, like, a lot of, like, what was it supposed to be, like, reggae music, or the other thing that they were using with reggae music or something like that.
Dubstep.
That's
or not
what it is.
dubstep, but just
whatever
dub style. Yeah.
Yeah. So you take, like, the bass, you take the rhythm of this, and then you kind of transverse it.
The dub version.
Same thing. So we're here now in the 90s where we had, like, the Lard, and everyone's probably got that album. They were like, fuck, why can't we do something that's thrash industrial? And it's like, and again, it wasn't that common for people to do projects like this back in the day.
No.
It was becoming a thing.
Speaking of that, I mean, it is a fun it's like a Lard. It is just a fun thing. You're
doing it because you like playing music.
Yeah, it sadly didn't go further like Lard.
It's a cult classic. And that's probably, just schedule timing, that they couldn't just commit to doing a whole side project. And neither did Lard, really. So it was one album, 10 years later, another,
Fun fact for anybody out there. We've been talking about how it's like a Sepultura Fudge Tunnel, basically baby band
mashup. Yeah.
Well, on the actual album, I didn't know this, but Dino Cazares, who is the guitar player for Fear Factory, he's actually on the album, on the studio album.
Okay, another industrial metal dude.
So exactly.
And he's a riff master too.
He's a riff master. He's on 24-hour bullshit.
That makes sense.
But then you also have Igor, right, on drums, which is the other part of Sepultura,
right.
And then Andreas, who's on song 2, 9, and 11, doing lead guitar.
Yeah, and I even think Paula was there at certain points, I thought, but I could have been imagining stuff when I was a kid.
No,
Alex, like pretty much solid Sepultura.
Alex and Max are listed as basically, bass, guitar, and vocals for the whole.
Everything.
Yeah, both of them. So I mean, you have this mashup that's just basically Fear Factory, Sepultura, and Fudge Tunnel. That's like for the main album. Then you can kind of see how all that mixed together. The industrial side of Fear Factory mixed with the like sludgy riffs of Fudge Tunnel, and then the speedy thrash that Sepultura has. It's like all of that coming together into one band.
Yeah, it's just fun, like you were saying. That's the only reason they would make it or release it was just like, I just wanted to try this out. I'm, curious. I wanted to make these songs. They might have been in my head. They're just not good Sepultura songs.
Do the chorus for Cockroaches.
Let's see. Oh, right, yeah. Okay. Love it.
Yeah, that chorus or that just like that is such like a fun riff, like you're saying. Like there's not, and then that even the Fudge
verse.
Tunnel riff.
Yeah.
That's a very fun riff too. Like they're just like on top of them being like these like not crazy fast or whatever, they're just like head bobby riffs. They're also got that sludgy feel, like what we like about Fudge Tunnel, and that kind of just like it almost feels like Fudge Tunnel has the like exaggerative nature of industrial music, where their riffs just feel like they're endless.
Yeah.
Their choruses or whatever, their verses feel like they just go on forever, but they don't. They're more on the like sludgy side, whereas Nailbomb does incorporate those like industrial elements, so it makes it a little bit more like. There's like I swear
different flavors.
I swear on that. There's like some clash or on the. No, not that part. That part, the breakdown part. I swear there's like clashes happening or something. There's like something happening like with the synth part that's like making it more intense. And
yeah, it's something like it's like in the background because it's like and it's like that's what it is. I guarantee if you isolate it, it's just like kind of a single note that's like kind of pulsating because it does like rise and it changes like the color texture, the feel.
It makes the whole song like. Because that's a breakdown, and that's another. This song is another example of like that verse, chorus breakdown, and then, but in this scenario, you have each part is kind of in the same like head bobby way because they're going from that they're already like kind of bobbing slow.
There's like a lead part on top of that.
You're not going like crazy thrash and then now breakdown where like the tempo switches. You're like still in that same groove. And that's what I like about that breakdown, and particularly because you're like it hits a lot harder in some ways because of that. You're already like in that motion, so it's like comes out of nowhere.
Because the part before that is like so furious, the And that's kind of where you want to get back to, but you want to like just sprinkle it in, just like you don't want to add too much of it because you ruin it. So it's like the hook,
Exactly.
So you get them, pull them back in. It makes you want to listen to the song again because all you could think of is that fucking part.
I feel like maybe that breakdown might be a Max riff. Fucking.
I mean, these guys jam together.
I feel like that's a sort of Max, but it could just all be this is like a / Fudge Tunnel song because the rest of it really does sound like that.
Yeah. And those vocals, man.
Yeah. Are there any VIPs or any like other riffs? The one.
Everyone go to hell. We used to cover this all the time.
Yeah. I like. Let me pull up the album. Is there any MVPs or special tracks you like? I'm gonna pull up some stuff too.
Like I said, World of Shit. Hate is reality. Dun, dun, dun. Hate is reality.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to that song because it is just so basic, and it has that like backing track. And some of these songs start so fun too, like on the album. Like fuck the live album, I'm talking about the original. Like the Japanese television in the background. Robot. And then it just fucking comes in. I love that early '90s shit. You know what I mean? I love everyone fucking did it like body count, like you had a little bit of something that you kind of add in, you know, like Biotech is Godzilla, you know,
Yeah.
and the original one done of that. It's, you know,
I'll say I like the first, as far as just the live version. I like how they start the whole album with just like
this is
in
like,
your face
yeah,
kind of
punk
coming
rock,
at
punk rock people, all my punk rock people out there, raise your hands.
But they also have
they love this album, you know.
Yeah,
It's not too heavy to pull away because Alex Newport does a great job of keeping it in a hardcore realm.
Yeah.
Max can only sing in a Max way.
For example,
but Alex has a way different flavor of her voice, you know?
Is it Sick Life that they're passing the vocals back and forth? Or that song? And then... And then, yeah, that...
Just good riff after good riff, dude.
But that riff, that's so simple. You know what I mean? It's literally just...
He
and
said
then,
to a monkey.
But think about like what's happening above. You have Max.
Yeah,
and then
it changes everything.
Yeah.
Their vocals, like
The vocals.
You don't need everything to be that complicated. It just has to be cool, good and fun.
And what is this?
There's plenty of
95.
kick-ass parts.
We're talking about the
blistering fast,
90s.
you know?
Those riffs don't need to be. You know, you're talking about Rob Zombie now. We're talking about all these like kind of 90s bands that are starting to
And
pop up.
we already had
like,
Chaos AD as well. So
Yeah.
that was where, you know, Sepultura took a big shift in change anyways.
Yeah.
And then we're right before fucking Roots.
yeah.
Like months. You know what I mean? That's probably what caused a lot of this band to stop. It was because of Roots.
A lot of other stuff. I mean, I don't know when Fudge Tunnel's
Sepultura.
albums kind of coincide with this one too. Maybe the same thing.
I just know
It's
they're
hard to-
all throughout
yeah.
the 90s, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Alex gets MVP because he pretty much did a crap ton on this album.
Mixing, engineering,
Performing,
bass
singing.
playing.
Yeah.
I think that was his son.
I don't think he did bass, but yeah.
They said
Is it?
he said Max and Hamden out of the band.
No, on the studio album, the live album.
Oh, right.
I'm gonna say
There was like 5 guitar players out there, by the way. I was like, why is there 3 guitar players? There was at least 3, and then
There's
a
a
bass
lot.
player,
Yeah.
and then maybe another bass player.
But yeah,
Why
Alex
is there
did a
2
lot.
drum sets?
Mixed, produced it, sang, guitar playing. You know, pretty much killed it. You know, for the live album. And
Yeah, his voice still comes through. His voice is like the only thing that sometimes gives you like point of reference because I listened to the live and I was like, I want to go listen to the original, you know? And I put this on when we were doing, you know, me and Justin were just gaming and and then the next day I come in the house and he's like listening to it again. You know what I mean? Or like me playing in the car for Berea and I don't even tell her what it is or say like, do you like this band? You ever heard of them? She's like, who is this? And I was like, told her who it was. She was like, I like this. You know, it's like, it's just that easy. It's such like, put it on. You can kind of capture anyone that likes rock and roll.
yeah.
Because you're not going to scare anyone away too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the kill or be killed. You know?
Kinda. That might be a little bit more because
Rock
they
and
have
roll?
3 vocalists, so it's a little bit more
And I
all
have
over the
to
place.
take this
Yeah, it's a little bit more experimental
Push
than this
myself
album. This
around,
album is
return.
just like the album art for this one, which is bodies laying in the street. You know,
Everything's
it's
very political
the
on this album,
it's
too.
the Jonestown
We
Suicides
didn't even talk about that.
on the album cover.
Yeah. All of it. All of it. Every bit in the booklet is just more of just like war crime shit.
Yeah.
The song Gorillas just obviously reflects that.
So it's
world of shit.
It's
Come
very
on,
like
you know what I mean?
you get what you see. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's-
There's no
it's-
like
it's
kill or be
driven
killed
point.
where it's kind of like
I get what you're saying.
Like
We're just a rock
you hear the
band.
first song, that's
know what
every
it's about.
song.
Yeah.
You know.
I know what these songs are about. No.
And the title "Proud to Commit Commercial Suicide" is a reference to the fact that the band they said they'd never release more than one album.
Yeah, because they didn't want to sell out.
Yeah.
I could see that.
So, again, just to finish up,
Life goes on. Let's play it. No. It's all like just sample drums, dude. That's why I couldn't play Gorillas. I was like, you could play it like this, but it doesn't. You want to like double time the hands. Like you want to play like eighth notes and fucking just keep that fucking foot running with it too. It's like, God damn, I would be so tired if I was playing that. And then when I listened to it live, it was just like double kick and like just I was like, this makes no sense at all. And who the fuck is that guy on drums? You know?
Yeah.
He was going, dude. Was that about time?
Yeah, it's about time.
Please follow us on
some plugs.
Yeah. Social media websites. Facebook at BANGover.com. Not .com. Yeah, email us at BANGover. There's a Patreon at BANGover Productions. BANGover Productions pretty much everywhere besides Facebook, and that's BANGover ATX. And then just BANGover on T Public, right? I keep being Teespring. T Public is where we're at. We're on, just BANGover.
Yeah, Twitch. We got their YouTube page. All of it's pretty much BANGover Productions,
BANGover
except for
Productions.
our Venmo, which is BANGover ATX. If you want to throw us some change, whatever you
Help
got.
us.
These times are hard. Both of us are laid off.
I mean, that's why we're putting in so much
Yeah,
work
we're
to
trying,
this. We're
so.
trying to get a new job.
Yeah,
we're
trying to get
trying.
new jobs.
Spotify, if you're listening.
Help us.
Spotify, if you're listening. Tell us what you think of our new idea.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to a lawyer, see if we're like infringing with any copyrights. When
Yeah,
we're
again,
just playing these small
if
parts.
anything gets cut out, apologies. We're just experimenting. We'll figure it
the
out.
worse that we play, like the more awful that we are as
True.
musicians, the less flags we get. But, we lose sound quality regardless.
Yeah.
So.
Well.
Wasted Away.
I was going to say, do you want to do the... we can do Wasting Away or like the same thing, or we can outro with the breakdown to Cockroaches that
Yeah. Let's go like how it ends. It fades away. So let's just go like 6 or 7. You know what I mean?
on the breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So we're gonna end with the breakdown to Cockroaches, and we're just gonna fade out from there. So thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode, which I think is what's our next episode? Do you happen to know? I don't know. But
It's going to be another crossover episode.
Yeah.
2 bands at once. Celtic Frost and who's our other metal
Anthrax.
band? Anthrax.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting.
So that'll be
Fuck,
wrapping up
we have
the
to
year.
learn those songs? No.
Oh God.
Oh God. We
We'll
didn't
maybe
think
do like
this through.
1 or 2 from each, but all right.
Maybe 1. All right.
Yeah. Later.
Oh, and definitely follow us on Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
End of the year, Halloween. No
Oh
one's,
yeah, we got a Halloween
It's canceled,
stream
right?
coming up.
9 o'clock, we'll start streaming.